a database developer's point of view as to what is the difference between a hierarchical database and a relational database, and how is reporting can be made faster within using the hierarchical database. So basically, the database structures are of four types. One is an object-oriented database, one is a hierarchical database, one is a relational, and third is a NoSQL database. So from our analysis right now, we will remove the NoSQL database and we'll concentrate on only two, which are the hierarchical as well as the relational database. Now, the hierarchical database actually has a tenet that one child can have one parent only. That means that one child can have one parent. So, for example, if I and for those people who are relevant, who are familiar with databases like Tally, so HSN can be defined at various levels of hierarchy. So, therefore, you define HSN in various object attributes. Now, within the hierarchical database, your core structure is going to be what we call the object, right? So this is going to be the object, and from there you will pick it up. Now, in a relational database, however, what you will have is a table and a column. That means the data is stored as form of a table and column. This table and column structure is very useful when you are looking at quick retrieval using many to many relationships. So hierarchical databases are very good for retrieval when you have one to many relationships, but um, uh, uh, but the relational databases are very good for when you're retrieving the data using many to many relationships. Hierarchical databases can be imagined like a tree. So a tree, there is a core trunk, then there are branches, then there are sub branches, and so forth. All a relational databases where there are all the branches are interconnected, and they can be linked using many to many composite keys. So now what happens is, now this is our scenario as far as this. Now, when you are having a hierarchical database, then how do you go from one branch to another? That is, in a tree, how do you go from one branch to another? So what you will do is you'll write a function and then you'll go from one branch to another. So ERPs like Tally have got a lot of built-in functions which go from one branch to another. So there are a lot of this thing, like for example, you've got get info from hierarchy. There's a list of functions which you will find. You can also make your own you can also make your own function. So there are custom functions which you can make, or you can use the built-in functionality called like collection fields or collection field by key to actually go from one branch to another. Now, as I said, that like ERPs like Tally are based on hierarchical database with object-oriented programming structure. So the core is what we call an object. A list of objects is what we call a collection, right? Now the collections can be of multiple types. So the collections can be linked with built-in objects or interface objects, or they could be external collections also, right? So interface objects could be linked with reports and so forth, and built-in is you take the default objects within Tally and then you have a list of them, and then you have what we call a collection. Alternatively, you can get a collection from external objects like a SQL Server database or a JSON input and so forth. So that is what is in brief is how a hierarchical database like Tally is structured, and then how a relational database like SQL Server is structured. Now the problem statement that comes is that if you have got say multiple ledgers and you've got multiple cost centers, then the speed with which the hierarchical database can extract the information is slightly slower, because each time you need to get an attribute, you will need to write a function for it, or you'll have to use a built-in function. Over a period of time, you can build on multiple functions for it, right? But in the case of a relational database, to join two tables using row and columns, you simply have to use a join. Joins can be of multiple type. Left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, or inner join are the key. That means if I've got two particular tables, then left outer join will get the full data from the left table, and then will get the all the matching keys from the left table, and then all even the non-matching keys along from the right table, and so forth. So relational database actually works on the joins, which is actually very commonly used. You get a large number of developers for SQL Server, Oracle, or MySQL, and this is there. So now suppose you have got a many-to-many clause. Suppose I've got one ledger with many cost centers, or one cost center associated with many ledgers, one company having many ledgers, or one ledger with many companies, or I have got one company with many items and one item with many companies, or you can also have a relationship with regards to ledger with items and items with ledgers. Now there you see there are a lot of very complex relationships which are involved, which are involving many to many. So your relational databases are actually going to be faster for query retrieval. So your average reduction time for the same query using a join, or instead of using a function, is should be at least 50%. Now, what does 50% reduction in time of query mean? Suppose a report in Tally is taking 15 minutes, right, or 5 minutes to upload. In that particular 5 minutes, actually, no one else can, work on Tally. But if I'm able to do it within 30 seconds, then the inconvenience can be lower. So that is how we see it. So it is always beneficial that when you have very complex relationships, to go from hierarchical to relational databases. We have extensively used studies from the Western economies and Western universities for data analysis, and it is because of this particular reason that most of the complex ERPs like Navision or Oracle are actually developed using relational databases. Hierarchical databases have got the advantage that when there are fixed relationships which are involved. So if there are fixed relationships involved, then you go with a hierarchical database. But if case your relationships can be dynamic, then a relational database can be considered. So in case you're looking to speed up your reports or extract the data from multiple companies and consolidate them for your operational as well as audit reporting, please do get in touch with us. And with this, I thank you for your time. Thanks a lot.